There are stories we hear as children that never quite leave us. Stories wrapped in warmth, wonder, and maybe even the aroma of a homemade pie cooling on the kitchen counter. For me, the story of Santa Claus has always been one of those tales. But tonight, I'm going deeper because, as always, this is the story behind the story. I can still see it. My childhood living room, lit by those big, colorful bulbs that seem just a little too big for the tree, but somehow perfect. My mom brought every bit of her Butterman and Fleming family traditions with her. Christmas at our house meant chocolate bells, wreaths, homemade cookies, and a dinner spread that could have fed the entire neighborhood. A massive turkey, homemade potato salad, pies that made you wish Christmas came twice a week. And the family tradition in our house, my dad ate half the turkey before Christmas Day. My mother loved Christmas and all the traditions. She passed away in January of 2005. And Christmas, well, it hasn't been quite the same since. But the memories, they're gifts that keep unwrapping themselves every December. As a kid growing up in Ohio, one of my favorite traditions was going to the Marion Palace Theater. Yes, that historic, ornate gem right there in downtown Marion. My dad's workplace, Marion Power Shovel, sponsored a Christmas program every year. And there I was, a little boy walking across that big, dazzling stage to get my goodie bag. And that stage, let me tell you, in 1962, it became the place where I met Santa Claus for the very first time. I swear the lights glowed a little brighter that day. Before we dive into Santa's past, let me share a little of the Palace Theater story. Because this isn't just a building, it's a living memory in Marion, Ohio. The Palace Theater opened in 1928, designed by the famous theater architect John Eberson, who specialized in what was called the atmospheric theater. This meant when you sat inside the auditorium, it looked like you were outdoors, under a starry sky, complete with drifting clouds. Over the years, the palace has hosted countless stars, including Bob Hope, Duke Ellington, Mickey Rooney, Red Skelton, Ginger Rogers, Gene Autry, the Marx Brothers, yes, the actual Marx Brothers, and performers from the golden age of vaudeville to country legends and modern touring acts. And it was a thrill knowing I walked across the same stage as they did. So when Santa greeted me on that stage, he was sharing a spotlight with some very famous company. Now, the story behind the story of Santa Claus. Let's peel back the wrapping paper. First, the saint behind the suit. Long before the North Pole, long before reindeer, and long before Coca-Cola ads with the jolly rosy-cheeked man in red, there was a real person, Saint Nicholas of Myra, a 4th century Greek bishop. He was known for secret gift-giving. He was a protector of children, sailors, and the poor. He gave rise to gift-giving traditions on December 6th. The Dutch called him Santa Claus, a name that slowly transformed into Santa Claus when Dutch settlers brought their traditions to New Amsterdam, which we now call New York City. The poem that created the modern Santa. In 1823, Clement Clarke Moore wrote A Visit from St. Nicholas, or as you and I know it, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. That single poem gave us reindeer, the sleigh, the chimney entrance, Santa's round little belly that shook like a bowl full of jelly, and even the tradition of leaving out cookies. Then came political cartoonist Thomas Nast in the late 1800s. He drew Santa with a red suit, a workshop full of elves, and, believe it or not, the North Pole as his address. Santa's image was all but complete. Then in the 1930s, artist Haddon Sundblom painted Santa for Coca-Cola, a warm, friendly grandpa like Santa. And just like that, the entire world had the same picture in mind when they heard the name Santa Claus. For me, the best Santa Claus movies have been Miracle on 34th Street. We like the 1947 version, but also 1994. The Santa Claus, 1994. A Christmas Story, not technically Santa's story. Try telling that to the department store Santa. Elf has become a modern classic. And books, The Night Before Christmas, the one your mom probably read to you. The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus by L. Frank Baum. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. And the Polar Express. Santa Claus has changed a lot over the centuries, from a humble bishop quietly helping the needy, to a Dutch legend on a white horse, to a jolly man flying over rooftops, to the big-hearted, cookie-loving icon we know today. But the truth is, the real magic of Santa doesn't live in the history books. It lives in the memories, in the traditions like the ones my mother gave me, in the Palace Theater stage lights, in the joy of believing, even if only for a moment, that something magical might just be possible. So remember, if you hear footsteps on your roof this Christmas Eve, don't worry, it's probably Santa, or a very confused Amazon driver. Either way, you're getting something. And that is the story behind the story. I hope you found it as fascinating as I did. The echoes of the past are waiting to be heard. My name is Brian Smith, and we are history.